Hi, I'm Jeremy Bouman. I'm the CEO of Rise. My favorite thing about my work here at Rise is the relationships I have with our staff, with our builders, with community members. I get to have every day a little bit different, whether I'm in a facility with our classes or meeting with volunteers and donors in the community. Really getting to tell the story of our work and connecting people into kind of this beautiful community that we've created, where we really have a heart for justice-involved people, where we have a heart for changing these systems to improve the outcomes for folks and to make it easier for people to come home and to provide opportunities. And you provide opportunities through connection. And so I love making these connections between our builders and community members, whether it's around employment or providing funding for the work that we do, and really trying to change perceptions around people who are incarcerated. We're all in this together. Everyone has things in their past, and we really want to make sure that no one is always remembered for their worst day. They are brilliant. We have some of the most creative, hardworking, just wonderful people in our state who are system impacted. And as a community, we need to come together and help them be successful. And if they're successful, the community thrives, the community is safer, and we really get to live out that mission to break generational cycles. I started volunteering in the Douglas County Jail probably about 13 years ago through my church, Christ Community, and for 6 years mentored men who were pre-trial. And so over that time, I got to know a lot of people who were system impacted, people who were waiting to be sentenced. And I would often go to their sentencing, and I would sit with their families and be a part of the court that day to hear what kind of sentence they were going to receive. Sometimes they were released. And over again, I kept hearing these really long prison sentences and then thinking about how old the kids would be when Dad came home. And that really was eye-opening to me to think about how many kids were going to be adults by the time their parent came home. How do we break these cycles? There were common threads around some of the people I worked with where their felony backgrounds really narrowed their ability to find careers and gainful employment. And there seemed to, be this injustice where people have paid their debt, and yet they have these invisible handcuffs following them, where society makes it harder, where we make it really hard on people to transition home. And I had kind of a full circle moment at the Omaha Correctional Center recently. I was there to lead an event for Rise, and I saw a guy walk in who I recognized, but he was a little bit out of context. It's not unique for me to recognize somebody in a facility over all these years, where we've had over 700 graduates and people get moved to a lot of facilities, but I couldn't put the context for this gentleman. And then I noticed his kind of pronounced limp, and it came back to me that this was James. And I had met James 12 years ago at the Douglas County Jail. And James had a limp because he'd been shot in the leg by a drive-by shooting in his neighborhood. He had been system impacted since he was very young, just many times in and out of the system. And so I hadn't seen James in about 12 years. And so when the event started, I went over to him and I said, "Hey James, remember me?" And he looked at me and he, finally kind of got who I was. And he said, "Jeremy." He said, "Where have you been?" I thought, well, that's a loaded question. I haven't seen him in 12 years. I was sad to see that he was back inside, and he's currently looking at about another 5 years. James is married. They have 5 children. 2 of his children are justice involved, which really kind of highlights that generational cycle that we see in our program. But it was just delightful to see him, and also heartbreaking to know that the system that he is trapped in is continuing to have this impact on his life and his freedom and his ability to get moving forward. And so he asked me very pointedly, "Jeremy, will you help me? Will you be there when I get out?" And because of the work we do at Rise, I very confidently could say, "Yes, James, we'll be here. will walk alongside you. Your goals will be the goals that we're trying to help reach. And having that community of support is often the thing that really helps folks come home and stay home, and be with their families and parent and have careers and do all the things that we all desire to do in our lives, create generational wealth for our families, give back to our communities. James is a wonderful guy with so much to offer, and I can't wait for him to return to the community, and I know how much he's capable of and just what an impact he can make on the lives of his kids and his workplace and the community at large. And so that really kind of sums up what we do here. We get to know people and build those trusting relationships while they're in these facilities. And that leads to trusting relationships when they come home. It leads to that connection. It leads to an ability to say, hey, let's do this together. We've got to know each other for a while now, and you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to go on this journey by yourself. We're here, and through all the different things that we do with programs and services, we're gonna be a part of your life in an intentional and powerful way, and we're not going away, and we'll be here for you. Outside of Rise, I am from New York City. I watch a lot of the New York sports teams and follow them much too closely. Much chagrin to my family, but I watch Knicks games and Jets games and Yankees games. I love to read. I read quite a bit. I love to spend time with my wife Sarah and our kids, Sophia and Luke. I love to travel. I love to experience new things. I love food. And all kinds of food. I like to cook, and so there's so many things that I get to enjoy in the community, and things I get to do that often I think about our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated and how much I want that for them, how much I want those experiences for them, and what a blessing it is to be able to come alongside people so that whatever it is that they want to do in their career or their life, that we can just be a small part of that, that we can enjoy those things and celebrate those things with them. And so that is really one of the most important things to me is this mission that we share together to care for others. And so I get a lot of, I'm very humbled by that.